Hello.
Hello!
Ho ho yo. And welcome to the
And
Scott and Lost show.
I was going to say, and a bottle of rum, apparently.
Yeah, I know, yeah. And I can't think of anything else that rhymes, but that's
It's a
fine.
crime.
I guess it's time to put that aside and welcome you back to the Scott and Lost show because, well, what can I say? There's lots to say, isn't there?
There was a small hiatus.
Well, this is the thing, you might be listening to this in 2022 onwards, in which case you've moved seamlessly from episode, what was the last one? I don't know.
Probably want to have researched that beforehand.
Yeah, number 18. There we go. That's the number I was grasping for. So you might have just come here fresh off the back of episode 18, in which case, but for those who haven't, for those who have been listening in real time, as it were, have been following the Scott and Lost show through its natural course, will have noticed a little bit of a gap. And so I suppose Loz and I should better explain ourselves, really. Are you there?
Yes, I just wanted to hang out to dry.
You just wanted to put another gap in, didn't you? I like it.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I won't edit out that gap because you were just being clever, weren't you?
So, yes, I was.
But my lack of organization before, but I've now got the details on screen here. And so basically, Loz and I, as I hope you would know, because I hope you've been listening to the whole thing, we did not too long ago, but feels like a long time ago, a kind of second series of the Scott and Loz show, which was about music, and we did our top 10 albums and very passionately counted those down, and then we got to the crescendo, if you like, the summit, and we did our top 3 albums, and this was published on the 18th of July. And then there was a bit of a gap of, I'd say, about 5 weeks, because on the 29th of August, Scott and Loz returned with a new series, as it were, with wrestling, didn't we?
Yes, one of my personal favorites, as you might all have guessed.
Yeah, and so it was a great. It was just something we both thought, yes, let's come back with and do something like this. And so that was, and we no doubt probably at the time, Loz, apologized for the gap in between, which was about, I don't know, 5 weeks. And yes, so the wrestling episode 18, was published on the 29th of August. And here we are on the 16th of December, some 4 months later. So, announcing series 3 with a bang, and then proceeded to just disappear for 4 months.
Yeah. And, classic.
Yeah, classic Scott and Loz. But there are reasons. So, well, first of all,
what are those reasons, Scott?
Well, first of all, those who have listened to all of the episodes will possibly remember that there was an occasion where there was a gap, not as big as this one, admittedly, but Loz and I had recorded 2 episodes. We had them banked, but there were some issues, and we decided to cut our losses, and we sort of lost 2 episodes. And a similar thing happened here. We had started series 3, so we started with Lars doing something he was really passionate about. We did episode 2 of series 3, which I won't kind of spoil, but that'll be coming after this one. And then we did an episode 3, which was kind of my turn to talk about something that I was particularly passionate about. And I think we spent between those 2 episodes, I don't know, 4 hours maybe of recording, 4 hours worth of material. And then my laptop decided it didn't want to cooperate with the Scott and Loz show anymore, and I had to take it in for repair. And tragically, somewhat, the entire hard drive was buggered. Basically, when I got it back, it was a new laptop. I lost not only the 2 episodes that we'd recorded, but all of the previous episodes are now gone. I know they exist on Spotify and YouTube as it stands. And not only that, but like all the jingles, all the logos and stuff like that, just all the kind of boring admin side of things, all that stuff just poof, gone. But thankfully, with a bit of investigation, I could salvage things here and there. So, for example, the classic Scott and Loz jingle, which is probably about time to throw that in, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely.
The guitar chords and things like that, they're all gone. But I have since got a new guitar, so all the more reason to just record some more. So basically, here I am with effectively a new laptop and a new guitar.
And speaking of new, if I may jump in, I believe congratulations are in order, Mr. Hughes.
Well, yeah, that's another thing that's happened. I've started a new job the past, well, I suppose you'd say month, really, the whole thing combined with the application and the starting of that. So that's been a bit of a whirlwind as well. Yeah, there's been all sorts going on in this last 4 months. It's been what it has been, and here we are. Hopefully, all the more invigorated for the absence.
Yes, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And also, let us not forget the monumental day that happened yesterday, which is the commemoration of my birth.
Yes.
I'm 34 years young and no more than a slip of the tongue. I'm a greasy nun. No, none of those work, but let's push on. Older and wiser I'm not, but all right. I've been rumbled. All right, no need to out me on air, mate. Come on, we're on the same team here. Sorry, mine.
So, yeah, in short, things have been happening. We've both been busy living our lives.
We still love you all. We were still thinking of you all, and I think we've both sort of been invigorated by season 3 and the more personal, almost sort of like slightly abstract take that we've had on things. But we remain two dicks. We're very much talking bollocks, and we just wanted to give you a little Christmas cracker to slip in your stocking.
And I think, if anything, we're going to up the bollocks ante, with subsequent chatting. And I to be honest with you, I just find it quite I apologize if anyone has genuinely been a bit like, where are the pods, mate? But from my point of view, it's quite funny that we announced series 3 with such a bang, and then 4 months later, here we are with episode 2. So yeah,
we recorded some.
Yes, we did. We recorded. Yeah, but you know what? We can make them better, can't we? But this particular one, this is Lars who proposed this, and I'm glad that you did, which was that let's just get together, do a Christmas pod with no planning whatsoever. It'll probably end up being shorter than the others, and let's just get it out there. So
indeed,
that's what we're going to do. And what else has happened in between? I went blonde last week. That was a bit random.
Oh yeah.
I know we're not visible at these pods. We are going to do a video pod at some point, but for those that know me, I've gone quite blonde at the moment, and it was, I didn't go in quite asking for what I walked out with. But the thing is, if I have it down, it looks very much modelled on everyone's favourite politician in the world right now. And then if I spike it up, I kind of look like an iced gem. Don't know if anyone remembers those, but
I was going to say, down you're resembling an eaten mess, and then up you look like a character from Fraggle Rock. So I don't know which is better.
No, I'm as yet undecided. I've been doing a bit of both, to be honest.
Down at Fraggle Rock.
Yep.
Right. That's it. I've had enough time. I'm hyped up on amaretto and right. This is okay. We're going to kick it off right as I've just sort of almost ruined it. Favorite Christmas drink, Scott Hughes.
Oh, is that what we're starting with? Favorite Christmas drink?
Because over in the States they've got eggnog, right? And I would say over here they're more traditionally sort of like mulled wine or port. Nice glass of port.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I don't care for either.
No, me neither.
I like a dry white, crisp dry white wine, and I like a good red, but I apply heat to the situation, and suddenly I'm deterred. And port, can't say I've ever really cared for the taste of port either. What Christmas drink? The funny thing is, do you know what I end up drinking at Christmas that I don't really any other time of year?
What, mate?
It's J2O.
yeah, that's very appropriate. I like it.
Yeah, so there you go. That's my Christmas beverage. What about you, amaretto?
Well, it's just I do have my famed Christmas pitcher, which I believe to be literally Christmas spirit distilled. It works all year round, but for me, I don't know what it is about Christmas, but I do tend to like kick off my Sunday shoes and let rip a little bit. And I go for, and so pitcher, right? We all know what we can pitch. We can picture a pitcher, right? 4 shots Di Serrano, can be any amaretto really, but if you're going to do things, do it right. Disaronno, 4 shots, bosh, in it goes. Then you want an Irish whiskey, preferably either Jameson's or Bushmills.
Mhm.
Bosh, 4 shots, in you go. The rest up with Coke, although if you really want a bit of a sugar high, you're going to go with the Dr. Pepper like I have today. And, just as I say, fill the rest up, a couple of ice cubes, bish, bash, bosh, a couple of those bad boys, and you are very festive. And it's not too sweet, it's not too sour, because I'm a bit of a wimp. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not your traditional whiskey drinker.
Yeah.
Cairo.
Very small,
but yeah,
chaps, but immensely strong.
I'm afraid she was horribly burned.
Yeah, she must have misheard me. She came back with a bucket full of strawberries. Sorry, this is not the Rowley Birkin podcast.
Getting rowdy with Rowley.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have like a whiskey on the rocks necessarily. So a mixer is often the way to go, and it's not too much of a right down your throat, and it's not too much of a is there alcohol in this? And Disaronno is always a good shout, I find, as you will probably have guessed by my my display on this here podcast.
Well,
it spurred me on.
I mean, I don't really ever drink Disaronno, and I don't know why, because I love sort of the almond taste, So I bloody love a cherry Bakewell. I even changed my name on Facebook once to Jerry Bakewell, and then realised I was stuck with it for 6 weeks and couldn't. Yeah, so anyway,
remember it fondly. I do.
And if we were talking favourite cake, I would probably say Simnel cake, which is basically Christmas cake, but with marzipan instead of where you would typically have the icing.
Simnel is Easter, mate.
Yes,
save it for the Easter pod. Wind your neck in.
Yeah, but Loz, listen, it's basically a Christmas cake, but with marzipan instead.
Yeah, but there's no marzipan disciples at Christmas, is there? No, fucking reindeer, mate. Sort yourself out.
I'm so sorry. No, I mean, look, if you want me to say sort of, if you want me to be like, oh, come on, Scott, what's your tipple, mate? What's your Christmas tipple, son? Then Bailey's is one thing that I've drank at Christmas before, and I wouldn't necessarily any other time of year.
Yeah, good shout. No, I didn't necessarily have anything in mind. That's literally why I asked.
Well, let's move this to its logical next topic. Well, it's not even a next topic. It's a... God, you can tell we're rusty, can't you? Right, so Christmas food then. I mean, let's park Christmas dinner for a minute. I'm sure we'll talk about that passionately and vehemently in a minute.
Difficult to do.
Just like, yeah, but is there anything snack wise that it's like you're like, oh, I can't wait till Christmas because there's going to be a bowl of those like on the table?
I mean, I appreciate the people listening may well be vegan or vegetarian or the rest of it. I'm sorry, it's not Christmas if there aren't pigs in blankets. That's a definite. In our household, or I should say my auntie's household, where we celebrate Christmas, she does a dessert called Baked Alaska. Yes. And some people are very aware of it, and some people have never heard of it before. So it's sort of like a layer of sponge and then sort of raspberries, and then you put ice cream on the top, and then make a mountain of sort of meringue over the top, and then you bake it lightly to give it almost sort of like a Christmas, almost a crispness about it.
Crispness,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there we go. So I love a bit of baked Alaska. I'm normally in for seconds on that one. Are you a turkey man? Because this seems to be more and more sort of...
Sorry, just the way you flew into that.
It seems to be a bit of a controversial topic these days, and I love a bit of turkey, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why it's many people's like least favorite kind of cut of meat, because it's kind of a bit dry and a bit tasteless. But I think for me, Christmas dinner is like much more about the accoutrements than it is the meat itself. That's not like the main event for me. So when you've got cranberry sauce and bread sauce, they go really well with turkey. So yes, I am a turkey man, Loz, to answer as vehemently as you asked.
Yeah, thank you. About time I got the respect that I deserve. And I can just following up a bit of tete-a-tete, if you will, is I have none of those. And the only sauce I have with my Christmas dinner, which, let's have it right, it's the king of the roasts, and the roast is almost the king of meals. But I digress. It's the only sauce I'll have with it is gravy, and I might not be boring with that. Again, might be slightly controversial, but yeah, no, gravy, lovely job.
I tend to put gravy over the like the veg, if anything, like roasted carrots, roasted parsnips, and I tend to like glaze them with honey and then roast them, and then that's where the gravy tends to go. Whereas the bread sauce, and I'm a latecomer to bread sauce. You know, I wasn't a fan up until I don't know 2017 or something like that, and then now I can't get enough of this stuff.
Very specific, like it.
Yeah, Loz, I've just checked the chat on Zoom. I've just sent you something. Because we were talking about like Christmas snacks. Now, just feast your eyes, pun intended, on that. Tell me if these resonate with you, because there's something I always associate with Christmas, and it's something that Mum always gets in.
Right. Okay. I hate to say this to you, but there's nothing come up through the chat, so we're just wasting dead air at the minute.
Okay. Well, it is in there. It is in there.
All right then. I'm looking.
Never mind. No, they're Roker like cheese crackers. Some people might know them as rusks. They're kind of like these very dry, like it's either Gruyere or Gouda crackers that just you will have seen them before, just like in a kind of at one of those parties where you've got breadsticks, dips, and all this stuff. I don't know how many of those types of parties you've attended in your life, Loz, but
less than I'd like.
Anyway, well, that didn't quite work, but never mind.
Yeah, that took off like a dying seagull.
Yeah, and it indeed crashed very much like a dying seagull as well.
That's why it's a perfect analogy.
And so, well, yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about Christmas catering wise?
How do you see the cracker situation?
As in not cheese crackers, but the
sorry, the table crackers. Do you go posh, or do you want the shitty ones for the almost like the cheesiness of it?
Well, they're always an afterthought for me, and subsequently, if I end up having to procure them myself, they end up being the ones that are available at the last minute, which means usually the shit ones, yes. which sometimes can accidentally pay dividends, with the bad jokes that come out.
Oh yeah,
but to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't really ever. Yeah, funny enough, this is the first time I've even thought about Christmas crackers this year, because I'm just staying over with the family over Christmas Day and Boxing Day. So I trust that they have attended to the cracker situation.
I'm sorry, that was great. Have you attended to the cracker situation, Minister?
Yes, I have, sir.
Yeah,
very good. Sir.
No, I shout out as if she's ever going to hear this, and B, probably not the way she would want to be addressed. But shout out to my auntie for always buying slightly posh Christmas crackers, because there's always a shitty joke in there, which is the par for the course. But I mean, as far as the shitty gifts inside that go, I mean, there was a screwdriver set the once I had, which I actually managed to use in real life, and I was quite impressed with that. And some people have had, I think, proper hair combs of some description. I mean, obviously it's sort of like folded in itself and a little almost like sweetheart portrait.
Some of these things are surprisingly robust. I got like a little roll up tape measure once, and I think I've still got it. It's just, it's potluck with that sort of thing.
It is, but it's like everything else. I personally feel, for the most part, you get what you pay for.
Just to sort of round out the whole food thing, where do you stand on sprouts, Lars? Because I know this is hot on everyone's lips.
Yeah, I was almost trying to avoid them, actually, as much as I do on Christmas. They're fine. I don't find them as offensive as some people do. I'll have a sprout, sure. But yeah, if you said to me, "Oh, Lars, you'll never believe it, there's no sprouts for Christmas dinner," it's all right. That'll be fine.
I'm kind of the same. I'm just neither here nor there with sprouts. So they've got a weird, like fermented, rotten kind of taste to them. I'd have one. I don't sort of dislike them, but like when you look at just you're spoiled with riches, aren't you, with the Christmas dinner? And wide waste space on a plate with something that's just anything less than an 8 out of 10.
Indeed, indeed.
All right. Well, let's go back in time. So, you and I have between us now have experienced what 66 Christmases.
Mm.
So we won't go through each one. Or shall we? I don't know. But I mean, in terms of like, in terms of like you and I sort of experiencing a Christmas together. I mean, I know that most people who listen are friends, really, of at least one of us.
And
although,
those who are listening that don't know us probably think that we sit in some sort of Mount Olympus style arena with all the other gods, but
yeah, well, who says we don't? But no, I mean the interesting thing is, to go slightly off road here, at the end of the year, you'll probably know, Loz, and you'll probably know, the dear listener, that Spotify do this Wrapped thing where like 2021 Wrapped, and it tells you what you've listened to, your favorite artists, is blah blah blah. Now this also happens for podcasters, and so here's how many people have listened from here, blah 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 blah. And it's nice to know that we clearly do have people listening that don't personally know either of us, Loz, just based on geographical data. I can think of one person, I think, in Canada and one person in Switzerland who would listen, but there was all sorts there, and I thought, okay, that's really cool, a bit bizarre, but really cool. So we've got listeners worldwide who don't know us, but they might assume that, like a Vic and Bob type of thing, that Loz and I spend Christmas Day together, every year, but that's not, of course, the case over Christmas. But
yes,
during like school years, of course, the Christmas period would obviously creep into the 2 weeks before going away on Christmas holidays. And do you remember, Loz, I can't remember if it was sixth form or if it was the GCSE year, where we did a Christmas quiz. Do you remember?
Oh God,
yeah,
I remember writing it. I don't remember us ever actually doing it.
Do you know?
No.
Oh, I remember it quite well. No, so Loz and I did this Christmas quiz, and we just wrote a bunch of bizarre questions that really had sod all to do with Christmas. And then, we put posters up all around, like, I don't know if it was the common room, but just all the corridors and in the quad and stuff like that. We did. I remember it. We had like, I don't know, it was at capacity for the room that we hosted it in, 30 or 40 people. And we were sat there, like, very much talking Vic and Bob, a Shooting Stars type of thing. There were,
I'm just going to be honest. I genuinely, this is escaped my cranium. This.
Well,
I'm fascinated to hear about it.
I'll pretend I'm not upset and offended. It was no. Well, maybe I'll jig your mind, Loz. If I jig your mind, is that the correct term?
It is now.
Yes, a bit of Christmas mind jigging. Some of because I remember some of the questions, like in which year did Santa obtain his speedboating license?
Yeah,
it was a bunch of stupid questions that had really nothing to do with Christmas whatsoever.
What has Chris Rea actually reared?
Yes,
things like that.
Yeah, that type of thing. So I remember doing that.
See, that's so funny. It's so funny that I remember. I have vivid memories of us actually writing the quiz, and no memory whatsoever of us actually doing it.
Oh, right. Bizarre. No, I remember the hosting of it, and not so much the coming up with the questions.
Well, that's why we make a great team.
Well, yes. Yeah, between you and I, we've kind of got a memory of the thing then. Yeah. But all right, well, let's. So, I mean, what do you remember? I mean, that's quite a broad question to ask.
Right. Okay. If I might take over very slightly, I think we should address this in two ways, as I think that Christmas is a very different prospect when you're a child as to when you're an adult, and we have sort of had almost equal parts of both. So I would say up to about the age of 15, we're talking childhood Christmases, and then 15 plus, we're talking more adult-esque Christmases.
Okay.
So from your childhood Christmases, what's your favorite Christmas memory? Put you on the spot there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be able to just like immediately think of an absolute favorite, but I can just quickly frog march, whistle stop tour through a couple.
I can go if you like.
Yeah, go on then. If you've got one in mind, and I'll have a think whilst you're.
Well, personally, one of the things, and people have often said to me, "Oh, doesn't it suck that you've got your birthday so close to Christmas?" And my response has always been to these people, "No, it's brilliant," because what happens is every year I'd get asked for something that I want, and because of the benefits of having a big family, there were lots of people that were interested in what to get me, and it just always ended up with me going, "I really, really want this," and Mum would sort of go, "Oh, it'll have to be Christmas and birthday," and I go, "Well, that makes all of about 10 days waiting from birthday to Christmas, so don't really give a shit, Mum. So yeah, gimme." um,
Well, yeah,
so
Loz's birthday is about 10 days away from Christmas, whereas mine is, pretty much 10 weeks away from Christmas. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
So basically the thing that I always think about, my personal favorite Christmas gift ever, was I had that classic sort of coming down on Christmas morning, and in the middle of the lounge was this what seemed to me as a young child a massive box, and I knew it was for me. I was like, "Oh fucking yes," and eagerly and was made to wait until every other present had been opened, which I thought was a nice touch actually. And I knew exactly what it was because I'd obviously asked for it. And when I unwrapped it, and it was a Sega Mega Drive, I believe, 2, with Sonic, and I was that was for me that one time where I was literally like jumping around the lounge, like yes, it's Christmas, yes. Insisted on Dad plugging it into the main TV immediately and played it every minute I could until we had to get dressed to go. And even then, I would have quite probably happily stayed on my own and played Sonic.
Yeah.
But yeah,
as soon as you got back home, you were presumably into the lounge and loading up the Mega Drive, very much like Sonic, I imagine.
You would like to think so, but I think at the time it was probably gone about 10 o'clock at night, and I think it was, "You get to bed now." Oh, okay. But there was plenty of time for that.
And then, creeping downstairs in the middle of the night, very much like Metal Gear Solid. Although you probably weren't a Metal Gear Solid fan at that age.
No, and I ain't no Snake.
No.
But no, I was one of the first kids around, was certainly amongst my friends, Drakey, to have a Mega Drive. So I was really chuffed with that. That's my favorite Christmas present. And the only thing I just wanted to get out there, just because it's a lovely Christmas memory. I always remember being around at my nan and granddad's, who lived next door to my auntie and uncle, where we all congregate as a family to celebrate Christmas. And I remember looking out of the window and seeing the snowflakes start to fall. And it was the first Christmas that there'd really been sort of snow at Christmas time for me. And I was just like, "Oh, wow." And I remember turning to my nan and being like, "Oh, do you think it will stay overnight?" Because, for us to have lasting snow in the UK is, well, certainly by my experience, quite a rare thing. And I was like, "Oh, okay." She goes, "Yeah, I think so. It might well be." And to wake up on Christmas morning to, that perfect white blanket outside. And me and my cousin actually managed to manufacture an igloo out of the lovely dry powder snow. And it was surprisingly insular. It kept the draft out, I'll tell you that. We just about managed to finish our igloo when we got called in for Christmas dinner. So we basically just got changed and went and sat straight down at the table. And that was the fucking dogs, mate.
That's the quintessential romantic idea of a Christmas day, isn't it? I don't remember ever experiencing snow on a Christmas day. I mean, so you talk about was it Mega Drive?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember if this was Christmas or not. I feel like it probably would have been. And I can't really remember the granular detail of this. I think maybe I lived up in Lancashire, might be wrong. And Mum was going to get like a games console for me and my brother. And I do remember at the time, like the Sega Saturn was like the big thing that was out. And we went in, and this guy who worked there, presumably, kind of said, Well, actually, you could get the Sega Saturn, which is like the best thing around right now. Or if you hold on for like, I don't know, a month or something, then there's this thing coming out called the PlayStation, and
Oh,
it's it looks like it's going to be legit, mate. I believe are the words he said. And we held on. We got the PlayStation that was like this brand new console, the first time Sony had forayed into the console market. And
mm,
yeah, and we probably got things like Rayman, Crash
yeah,
Bandicoot, Ridge Racer,
yeah,
Wipeout, there were FIFA 96 or something.
yeah.
Um,
The first Tomb Raider, maybe.
no, do you know what? I never really played the Tomb Raiders. I found them really boring.
Mm.
Yeah, but um, but there was a game called Bloody Raw, which was like almost a precursor to Tekken. But Bloody Raw, you had like
I'm sure your mum really loved buying you Bloody Raw, the game.
do you know what? I don't think we ever actually owned the full game. I think it was just one of those demo discs because back then
Ah,
you'd
yeah,
you'd get excited for the monthly PlayStation magazine, which was like a fiver. Which, if you think about it, back then, fucking rip off. But
yeah, yeah.
but it did come with the disc of demos, and I'm pretty sure that's where we got Bloody Raw from. And me and Jack just
Ah,
exhausted the demo, over and over again. And so, yeah, I've got fond memories of that. I struggle, though, to be honest with you, to recall kind of specific Christmas presents. I mean, what I will say is that my parents separated 30 plus years ago, and my dad still lived in London, which is where I'm from initially. And of course, I would kind of go down at some point over the Christmas period to see him, and I'd kind of alternate whether I spent Christmas Day with him or Christmas Day sort of up in the Midlands with mum, or up in Lancashire with mum, or even Yorkshire with mum. I've lived all over the place, as you know, Loz.
oh yes.
But yeah, I remember, let's say from the age of about, I don't know, 7 to 12 or something, the big Christmas present or birthday present would always be like the latest Man United shirt,
Mm.
and so with probably Beckham on the back one year, York on the back the next, and the Adidas Predator boots, presumably one of the years. And funnily enough, I was talking to Dad recently, and I said, "Do you know what? Like, get me this year's Brentford shirt, because it's like I haven't owned a football kit in years. The last Brentford one I got was about 8 years ago. It was a League One shirt. It was before we even went
Mm.
up to the Championship, let alone being now in the Premier League. So I thought, well, I've got to get this year's Brentford kit.
Yeah.
And going slightly off road here, but especially that Brentford, I don't know if you heard this, Lots, but they've come out and they've decided that this year's home strip will also be next year's home kit, which
Nice.
I know was commonplace about 10 years ago, but with the way, money grabbing bastards of the world,
Mm.
um, Brentford included, to be honest with you. But this year they came out and said, no, we're going to keep this shirt for 2 years to make it just a bit nicer for fans, a bit more affordable, less environmental ramifications of just a whole new strip again next year. So I thought, well, I've got to get this year's kit then. Even if we only spend 1 year in the Premier League, it'd be nice to
Yeah.
have a kit that commemorates that.
Mm.
And so, yeah, the Christmas present wise, I kind of struggle to think beyond things like that, old Man U shirts and
Well, I tell
um,
you what. Can I just jump in once again because another thing is just flitted into my mind, and that is my favorite Christmas gift that I've seen somebody else give to somebody else,
mm,
and this was Dad. Now, me and Dad have a bit of an interesting relationship, but I'll give him credit here. He was at times a bit of a banter hound, old Dad, and what he did this Christmas. Right, so basically, almost the same story again as with the Mega Drive. We come downstairs. There is an ostensibly. I can't believe I'm. It's either the drink or I'm my
ostensibly.
ostensibly. Thank you. Yes, I was going to say it's either the drink or the drugs have finally
Well, it
rotted my mind.
depends what you're about to say. Whether ostensibly is the correct
Oh,
word.
it
But go on.
was. I'm going to change now. It was an ostentatiously big box in the middle of the lounge.
Okay.
And Mum walked over it and sort of went, "Oh, is that for me?" And he's like, "Oh, maybe."
Mm.
And she's sort of like coyly, sort of all, "Oh, what's in there then?" "Oh, never you mind." So again, wait till the end, the last present to be opened, and Mum like sort of blushing and is like, "Oh, what's in here then?" And does and does a layer of wrapping paper, and then sorry, hold on.
I'll tell you what. Much as Christmas is all about tradition, in the true tradition of the Scott part of the Scott and Loz show, let's just pause quickly here so I can empty my bladder. And we're back. 1,000 apologies.
So basically, we come downstairs Christmas morning. There's an ostentatious presence in the middle of the lounge, a big bow. I knew it wasn't for me this time. And Mum goes over and checks the label, and she goes, "Oh, is this for me?" Dad's very coyly sort of, might be. And she goes, "Oh, okay." And so, again, wait until all the other presents have been opened. And she sort of tentatively starts unpicking the wrapping paper. What could it be? And she opens one layer, and it's a cardboard box. And she opens the box, and inside is another wrapped box. Oh, okay. And it's still quite a fair-sized box. Picks that out, undoes the wrapping paper, and she always liked doing it quite carefully. So it was quite a precise method, I would say. A procedure. Yes, there we go. And so away she goes. I think you probably already guessed it. Opens it, another box. Yeah, it's a dead llama.
Oh no, come on, Loz, you can't. There's anthrax and there's dead llamas. Please don't go there.
Oh well, I'm afraid I just did. But there we go. Dead llamas aside, it was another wrapped box, and she's starting to get a bit like, oh, okay, this is interesting, John. So the wrapping paper comes off. She says, "Oh, I'm wondering what it is." And he's like, "Oh, keep going." Another box inside the box, which was clearly like a shoebox by now. And she's really starting to be like, "Right, what's in this box?" And he's like, well, I'll open it and find out. And when she finally opens it, oh, bless her heart, it was multiple packs of aspirin and sort of band-aids, elastoplast. It was like he'd raided a chemist. Even sort of like, I don't think quite Dulcolax, but I do think he'd got some Anusol in there. I was like, that's a low blow, Dad, literally.
Christmas is associated often with deluxe selection boxes. It could be from Boots, it could be hand creams, things like that.
A real treat.
But that sort of stuff from Boots, perhaps. But the pharmaceutical section.
But I'm sorry, the thing that we're about to miss out on is amongst these products were anti-stress, stress relief sort of shampoos and bath things.
Right.
And
lavender, presumably.
Yeah. And it was, just again, sort of, the basic ones off the shelf, nothing particularly luxury. And she says, I didn't know I particularly needed stress relief shower gel. And he says, I don't know, you look pretty stressed right now. Oh, there was an icy look. And
I know your parents, Loz, and I'm doing my very best to picture that, and I'm struggling.
Well, he took great joy in retelling the story to every one of our relatives at Christmas. So it was right now. I have you got a banter present?
Sorry?
It doesn't necessarily have to be a banter present, but
banter present.
I always remember one of my managers at Pizza Hut was a diehard Man United fan, and when he had his first child born, one of the other lads got him a baby Liverpool kit as a part of a Secret Santa, which I thought was genius. And the year before,
go on. Sorry.
No,
I just thought of my answer to the question. That's all. I'll come to that.
Okay, good. The other banter gift for the same chap was management for dummies, which I thought was fucking brilliant.
To the point, I like it. Banter.
Swing away, Meryl.
Well, all I can think of. So when I was sort of 16, 17, I worked in an ironmonger's, and it was sort of my first job, really. I was still at school, and it was like a Saturday job, and this ironmonger's was next door to a sort of hairdressers and chemists and beauticians. It was kind of and we shared a Christmas do. So the two companies booked out
The ironmonger's lot went out with the perfume counter
Yeah,
ladies.
yes, that is what's happened. And we booked out this, country, stately kind of place for this Christmas too. Yes, I know. And a Secret Santa was drawn between, again, the two businesses. So when I
Because
pulled it,
you'd know them all so well, wouldn't you?
well, exactly. I was the guy that was there once a week, and I, hardly knew the guys where I worked, let alone the people next door. And yeah, I pulled out the name of someone next door called Pat, and I spoke to someone.
Please tell me you got a postman Pat or something.
Not quite. So I asked the guy I worked with, what's she like, and he was like, oh well, she's got a sense of humor, she's like, and
I'm sorry.
And I thought, all right. And he was like, oh, up to, typical Secret Santa, up to the budget of, say, 15 quid sort of thing. And I was out and about in town, like, not particularly looking for that, but just probably doing other Christmas shopping. Anyway, I stumbled upon Pat the inflatable cow, which was, well, it was an inflatable cow. Cow Pat, the inflatable cow. And and I don't know if it was that I thought it was brilliant, or that if I was just kind of at the end of my like energy for the day, Christmas shopping, like, oh, this will do. Anyway, so yeah.
That's amazing.
Fast forward to the Christmas do, Loz, and I watched Pat open this thing, and of course she didn't know who it had come from, and I saw she laughed, and people seemed to note genuine laughter from her, but I saw the look in her eye, and I think, yeah, I don't think it went down that well at all. I think she just put on a very good front, but yeah. Anyway, so that's, I don't know if that's banter, so to speak, because I didn't particularly know this person. It was just it was a punt. It was a punter Christmas present rather than a banter one.
Yeah, she's now spent the rest of the meal thinking, which one of you bitches thinks I'm a fat cow?
That's it. Yeah, like I clinked glasses with her later in the night, and I saw this look as like, are you the cunt that bought me that? Yeah. So there you go. That's what I could think of there.
No, good.
I was going to say, how are we doing for time? We're doing all right for time, actually, given our usual standards. We're doing all right.
Scott and Loz, two dicks talking bollocks.
So what else can we?
Well, bringing it back to the podcast, actually, what I was going to say, and I feel like I kind of know what your answer is, in fact, but I was going to say, we've been talking about films. It's the podcast. Favorite Christmas film?
Well, Loz, the preparation and notation I made in advance of this podcast could be fitted on a post-it note, and actually, part of that post-it note says favorite Christmas like films / songs / episodes of shows and stuff. And I thought, well, yes, we've done a series on film in, let's face it, quite detail. And
yes,
for the record, I loved it. Wouldn't change a thing about it. And I'm sure we'll return to films. And in fact, we talked about this, that we might do a one-off here and there about certain types of films. And one of the topics that came up, yeah, and exactly. And we talked about Christmas films. Well, shall we do it now? But challenge accepted. Can we?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, exactly. I don't think we need to bang on with quite the usual detail, but yeah.
All right. Well, first of all, Die Hard, Christmas film, yes or no?
Definitely Christmas film.
Good.
And set at Christmas, too. Therefore Christmas film. Yeah, he's trying to make it home for Christmas. Yeah, Christmas film.
Yeah, and the same goes for Gremlins, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, good. We're doing well.
Friendship preserved.
Right, now, I said earlier that I wasn't going to spoil any episodes coming up in the series, but I will spoil one now. Those who've listened to the whole show will know that Loz and I did a lengthy series on films, and what came out of that series was like a watch list, because some of my favorite films, or many of my favorite films, Loz hasn't seen, vice versa. So we got quite a lengthy watch list. And Loz and I mean, let's face it, the podcast started with films, didn't it? And that was back in April. Yeah. So yeah, we've got through quite a few of these films, let me tell you. And Loz and I spent a good 2 hours discussing some of these in what's now become a buried treasure, sadly. But
what will no doubt be referred to by the fans as the Lost podcasts.
Yes. So we will talk about those in a subsequent episode, as was always planned. But I mean, one of them was arguably my favorite Christmas film, which is Love Actually. That's the most recent one Loz and I've watched, actually. So I'd have that up there. I'd say It's a Wonderful Life. Loz, have you seen that?
Nope.
Right. Well, good grief, man. Respect plummeting.
Yeah, well, fuck you too.
Do you know do you know the do you know the premise of
I find it really difficult to, and I know people are going to be like, well, your favorite film is The Godfather, yeah. But The Godfather is at least in color, and I find a lot of these black and white films, I don't know what it is, I find it very difficult to pay attention to. But I believe. Let's let you go first, because I don't know why I'm going to stumble through something that I'm not sure of. But basically, it culminates with him feeling hopeless and going to kill himself, and then he changes his mind. Spoiler alert! Sorry, it's a fucking ages old film, so fight me, bro.
Well, first of all, I find
don't they ape the bit in the same thing from The Simpsons, where like they've Bart destroys
the alternate killing spree ending, yeah.
No, I mean where the Christmas episode where Bart accidentally burns down the Christmas tree and buries it, and then the Simpsons, like, all the town sort of come together and deposit to like help them out, and then at the end of the episode it's uncovered that it was all a lie, and they come and take all their stuff away, and it just leaves the Simpsons in like a bare house. And then they're all like running around chasing each other and having a happy Christmas after all. And I was like, oh, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, The Simpsons have kind of, and let's face it, very well on most occasions, kind of referenced and spoofed everything. And yeah, It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah. I mean, first of all, let me just say this. I kind of fail to see how being in black and white can detract from your ability to develop an affinity with the characters and stuff like that. I mean, like The Elephant Man, Citizen Kane, good grief, the list goes on. Would you just...
I think it's the style of writing / acting from the period I find less engaging.
Well, basically, It's a Wonderful Life is, it's about someone whose business is like on the point of folding, and as he sees it, even though he's got a loving family, his life is just ruined, and he's suicidal, and his guardian angel shows him very much like another one of my all-time favorites, which is A Christmas Carol. As far as I see it, The Christmas Carol, probably the greatest story ever told. And I know that's a bold comment, but I'm saying it because I believe it to be true.
You are the king of the bold comments.
Yes, and that's arguably the king of my bold comments, but it's probably the most righteous. And It's a Wonderful Life is similar in the sense that the guardian angel shows him what things would be like if he did.
And they definitely spoof that in Family Guy as well, don't they? I swear I remember that, where they show like Peter what would happen if he never met Lois and stuff like that.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do vaguely remember that. That was, I think, one of the earlier Family Guys when it was half decent. And then, so you got Christmas Carol, and then, of course, you got the Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
So those are the films that come to mind for me. I mean, I do love a rom-com, as you know. And so The Holiday, I'm quite fond of. One film, we've discussed this before, that I've not watched, and I don't particularly plan on seeing anytime soon, is Elf. Everyone else screams about Elf. I'm sorry. It's not that I dislike Will Ferrell. I don't. But I don't know. I've seen bits of Elf inevitably down the years, and nothing's telling me, Scott, you've got to watch it this year. Like, no, I don't. I don't need to watch it this year.
I'm with you 100%. I'm a big fan of Will Ferrell, and I mean, particularly stuff like Anchorman. That stuff is great. But there's just something about Elf that, as you say, there's two types of Will Ferrell films. There's hilarious, and there's oh dear. And I'm afraid it's sort of for me fell into sort of that sort of character category for me.
What would you consider his better films, like Talladega Nights or?
Let's not do this now, because it's not really Christmas related, is it?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
One thing I wanted to talk about. I know some people quite like The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah, I like it, but I certainly, I know several folks. It's a big favorite of theirs. It's fine. I enjoy it, but it's not one of my big ones. For me, I can't believe we haven't mentioned Home Alone yet.
Okay. Say what you want to say about Home Alone, and then I'll say what I want to say about Home Alone.
If pushed, that would probably be my favorite Christmas film. That was what I've got in mind. There are lots of films that feature Christmas, I guess, that I've enjoyed. But I'm not a big one for schmaltz. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not affection, sure, but soppiness sometimes. I mean, my dear Lord, my mother has subjected me to some of these American bloody Hallmark Christmas films and
Such
the
as
like, and it doesn't deserve space in my brain, quite frankly, but
right.
they're normally either on the Hallmark channel, which is never a good sign, or Channel 5, which is equally not a good sign. And I have tried to convey this to my mother with little effect. But yeah, the sort of, they're sort of, there's an hour left in the film, and the central couple have had a rocky patch. Will they get it together for Christmas? Of course they fucking will. There's an hour left. There's no tension. The acting is shit, and I am unexpectedly angry. So I'll roll it back. When it comes to Christmas films, there's the Snowman. The Snowman's a bit of a classic.
I love the Snowman. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it, but I liked it as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm actually just now thinking of Christmas films.
Well, you need to tell us more about Home Alone, mate.
No, I don't. I think you even if you've not watched it, you know what Home Alone is because we've all seen that picture of Macaulay Culkin going, "Ah!" It's great. It's a really sweet story. And actually, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to say anything about it. Go and watch it. You'll thank me later.
Well, it's your favorite Christmas film. You just said, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me say something about it, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
It's not that I don't like Home Alone. I do like it, but the reverence for it, it's all right. That's how I see it. It's all right. I enjoy the slapstick nature of it. It's obviously massively like unfeasible and unrealistic all the way through, but then it's supposed to be a bit of a romp, isn't it? And
yeah,
I like it. I do like it, but it's just kind of all right to me. I'm in the camp of people that think Home Alone 2 is better, which is where he's
you're one of them, are you?
Yeah, I'm one of those guys where he's basically left to his own devices again, but this time in a New York hotel over Christmas.
That's right.
And I love Home Alone 2 and I like Home Alone 1, but neither of them are like sort of in the canon of like all-time great Christmas movies for me.
See, for me, not only have you got the central premise, obviously, the kid's home alone, everyone else is fucked off, and there's two robbers trying to break in. Okay, got that. That's fine. But the element of the guy who sort of, I think, lives next door, and everyone sort of like makes up these stupid, like scary stories about him that he's like kills kids with his like shovel and like drags them off. And really, actually, when he finally starts talking to him, that he's a really lonely chap and he's estranged from his family, and through his stubborn pride he's not communicated with his son, and that genuinely really like it strikes a chord. And well,
there's a similar story arc in the second one with the pigeon woman in Central Park. They're like, oh, don't go near her, she's like bad news, and she's not. She's just this loving person, and that's exemplified by the fact that she's got this amazing
but at the same
relationship
time,
with the animals.
But at the same time, that's kind of what makes me smile about and there is far more than you, but there is a great debate about Home Alone 1 or 2. And for me, Home Alone 1 is the classic, and Home Alone 2 is the same thing, premise inverted, off you go. And and it's definitely a lesser film for the lack of. Is Joe Pesci in the second one?
I can't remember. I think so.
Because I do love a bit of Pesci,
Yeah, I'm sure he is. He bumps into him in New York, and he's like, there's that look of recognition. Yeah, Joe Pesci's in the second one.
Yeah, no, now you say it. Yeah, he is, isn't he? Well, God bless Joe Pesci either way.
but the bit with the tape recording and the film, do you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
Oh,
keep the change, you filthy animal.
Yeah, like I said, I can't put it better than I like the first one. I love the second one, but neither of them are like pantheon for me. Sorry.
Well, that's your opinion. You can be wrong, and you are.
Now, Loz, what about National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? Are you a National Lampoon fan?
Never seen any of them.
You know the Griswold family. I think it's Griswold or Gringwald. I think it's the Griswold family. Just it's the well-meaning father who wants to do right by his family and give everyone the best Christmas. And he's just talk about a sort of Stan Laurel type, just accident prone, turned up to 11, and that's what National Lampoon is in a nutshell. And Christmas Vacation is no different, and it's a very enjoyable film. I'd recommend you watch it if you haven't, because it's just enjoyable.
I thought it was more of an American thing, the whole National Lampoon.
It is very much. It couldn't be more
Ferris
American.
Bueller.
Yeah, it couldn't be more American, National Lampoon, but I mean that in an endearing way. It's a thoroughly enjoyable film, and it's got.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want people to think that I'm anti-American particularly, but like they've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas, and they've kind of got Christmas too, but that's just greedy.
Well, if you're talking British Christmas kind of stuff, this I guess segues into, for me at least, like Christmas kind of TV, right? Now, I've got all I could think of, in the short space of time I had. I've written down 2 Christmas specials here.
Right.
One of them, let's start with the more. Well, no, they're both dark. They're both dark. But let's start with Let's start with the sort of more comedic, dark one, maybe, which is the League of Gentlemen Christmas special. Now, Loz, you're a League of Gentlemen fan, I think.
I am. I'm not to see this like fully, I have to say. You've shown me bits personally.
I'm sat here in my creme brulee shirt now. I just realised, which is, for any League of Gentlemen fans, you'll know creme brulee.
Voodoo lady.
Creme brulee doesn't feature in the Christmas special. In fact, both of my Christmas specials that I'm going to talk about here, and I'll be very quick in doing so rather than occupy 20 minutes with this. They're both what is known in the screenwriting, filmmaking trade as a portmanteau, which is where you have 3 individual stories that interlap and intertwine. And the League of Gentlemen does this very well. For anyone that's watched the show and hasn't seen the Christmas special, part 1, I'm just trying to think here. Off the top of my head, I can only think of 2 of the 3 parts. So anyway, one of them is about the vet, Dr. Chinnery, and the origin of the curse, which which again I won't go into detail here, but just it's majestic, and it's got some of the funniest League of Gentlemen material in it. Which, if I explained it right now, it wouldn't be that funny because it requires a certain level of like knowledge of the history of the characters, I think.
Is that one that we keep coming back to from the Christmas special as the "It's too late for that, Stella"?
Yes. There's the Charlie and Stella.
Deliberately leaving that vague, by the way.
There's just the couple who hate each other, basically trying to put up the decorations at Christmas, and the husband turning around to the wife and going, "Shut up, you bastard." Just that on its own is quite funny. I've never seen so much venom in the word bastard, and the fact it's being being delivered to your wife makes it all the more poignant in a way.
It is a sumptuous deliverance of the word bastard.
Yeah. And there's a bit where a guy just bursts into a room on a tricycle and he's like, anyway, that's all I'll say about that, but it's fantastic. And then the other Christmas special is the Black Mirror Christmas special, which was called which was called White Christmas. Now we'll get to Black Mirror probably when we discuss like TV and shows in more detail in another series. But the Black Mirror is quite dark at the lightest of times. And let me tell you, the Christmas special is arguably the darkest of all of them. But it's an absolute fucking masterpiece, the way that it's done. And it's that's probably all I'll say on the matter, really. It's Black Mirror at its absolute best, the Christmas episode.
Sure. One that I was amazed that didn't just leap forth from your mouth then was The Office Christmas special.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, I didn't think of that because the weird thing is I almost in my mind don't see it as a Christmas special, even though it is. But it's kind of like I almost see it as a 2-part third series in a way.
Right.
But it is.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you, but
no, you're absolutely right. It is to all intents
because it's almost the same with extras, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've got a Christmas special that's a 2-parter, isn't it?
Well, to be honest with you, thank you, Loz, for reminding me, because there's been no greater Christmas special ever than The Office. The way they do that 2-parter and just end the series.
Well, I mean, personally, for me, you know, I was never the biggest fan of The Office, and I know you always hailed it, and I always somewhat resisted it a bit. Like, people always used to tell me about Nirvana and bands like that, and I just sort of go, yeah. But yeah, that was, and a bit like Breaking Bad as well. And so many people told me that Breaking Bad was the best thing on fucking TV that I was a bit like, oh, fuck. Because I just have to be original, and that was me in The Office. It just didn't click like it did with seemingly the entire country. And you explained to me essentially the premise of A, the show, but B, like a brief retrospective of the two series, and being like, right, okay, and the story work behind Tim and it's Tim and Dawn, isn't it?
Yeah,
Their relationship genuinely moved me to tears, and I'm not ashamed to say it. It was really, really well done, exceptionally well written.
Yeah, and that they, for me, and I know certainly for Ricky and Steve, because I do know them on first name basis. They always said that it was like, they were the heart of the show, and it was so obvious that they were, and I'm glad that they kind of thought they were, and so they are so central to just the way the show ends. I was just really, really moved by Jim and Pam as well, even though I've not watched the whole of the American Office from start to end. I've hardly watched any of it, but I think Jim and Pam I got to love very quickly, very, very quickly, based on what little I'd seen. And so Jim and Pam and Tim and Dawn are sort of, for me, like the best love story that I can think of that I've seen in like film or TV.
Sure. And I mean, I'm awfully fond. I mean, the Simpsons did a fair few Christmas episodes. None of them.
The very first episode was Christmas one, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Simpsons roasting on an open fire, I do believe.
Yeah.
It's a good episode. None of them I would say are real like arse kickers, but I wanted to give special mention to, I think it's American Dad, who do some crazy Christmas episodes that have really been good. So I'm not even gonna give you more on that. If you know, search him out.
I don't know. I'll have to watch them.
Yeah, search him out. Did you not hear me speak?
What about Christmas songs, Lars? Now, this is one for me. We've done a music series. I would hope that you've all listened to it. Christmas songs, I can't really think of any, if I'm being honest, that really do it for me. Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name. There you go. That's the only one that ever resonated with me.
It's not really a Christmas song, though, is it? It's a Christmas number one, but...
Yeah, and it was recently voted the favourite Christmas number one. And I remember at the time we should give this its due merit and attention, actually. When it happened, I bought 3 copies. I remember, I was so swept up in this movement. And of course, because it was so much bigger than what a lot of people were making it out to be. It was the whole point of this. This is huge.
Yes.
This is about the ordinary people rising up, and literally people, those who were opposed to it were like desperately looking for reasons to discredit the movement, right? And they were saying, well, the song itself is about this and this, and the obvious answer was that, well, it's not about the subject matter of the song itself, is it? That aren't you aware of the name of the band? Rage Against the Machine. Like, that is exactly what it's about. It is, yeah. And so I was so engrossed in that, and I can't.
It was all about denying the X Factor, wasn't it?
Well, and the excitement of waking up to find out what Christmas number one was, and it was that, and it was amazing. That was what it should be about with the Christmas number one thing. And we've seen many things down the years try and replicate it. There's a particularly funny one this year about Boris Johnson. I know that we've removed the explicit language barrier on this show as of a few episodes ago, but I still won't quote the name of that song. But I find it quite funny that that's campaigning to be Christmas number one this year. Will it do it? Probably not.
I'm unaware of that.
Well, I'll reveal 2 offensive words in the name of the song. Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christmas songs, I don't know, just none of them have ever really done it for me, if I'm being honest.
I mean, as someone who works in retail, and I'm forced to listen to the same old offenders again and again, One that often gets left off a lot of compilations, especially these days, is I just love the Slade, it's Christmas. That on Christmas morning is when I need to hear it. I put it on every year, and then I never need to hear it again for the rest of the year. But for actual Christmas morning, that's the ticket for me.
Nice. I'm still awaiting the day Meshuggah do a Christmas single, but yeah, maybe next year. Right, let me think. So I suppose there's one other thing I wrote down that I want to cover.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're talking about sort of Christmases, which surely we should be.
Shock.
So this Christmas, this year, I'm looking forward to spending with both my parents and stuff. Last year's Christmas, I just moved into this sweet new flat, and I spent a Christmas with Dad here, which was awesome. A couple of Christmases before that, I remember going out to like Florida, which was amazing. After 15-year hiatus of going out to Walt Disney World in Florida and stuff, I went out with Dad, and it was the Christmas period, and it was awesome. So that was a Christmas to remember. But I'll tell you another Christmas to remember, probably for the wrong reasons, and it was. I
was going to say, I was about to say, didn't you spend a Christmas at Her Majesty's pleasure?
Yeah. So 2019. Now, anyone who's read the book will know this. Lars obviously knows this. Anyone, I guess, at work who's listening to the podcast series, well, this might be like a shock to you, but I suppose it's important to say that I was very forthcoming during the interview process about this stuff. In fact, I couldn't have been more transparent. In the first interview, I basically held up my book, which was about a lot of these experiences and stuff. So,
and well done you for it.
Well, thanks, man. But yeah, basically, Christmas 2019 was spent in HMP Cardiff, which it's safe to say was quite a departure from previous Christmases, and indeed has been quite different to subsequent Christmases. But I don't want to go off on a big thing about that because I guess the book does that. But I suppose, funnily enough, right, what I did think I could do here, if I get the book up on my phone on Kindle, hang on, because me being there over the Christmas period, I actually decided to keep a Christmas diary, and I'm going to read a couple of excerpts from this. So hang on. Right, I won't do the whole thing. I'll just pick out a couple of little bits here and there. Because basically, I was in prison over Christmas, and I kept a Christmas diary just for my own sanity and amusement, really.
It's the one place in the world that you don't want your cracker pulled.
Yes, rather. Christmas Eve. Watched the day the Earth stood still last night and forgot how bloody good it is. Ironic how the message was, when we're on the precipice, we change. Also, the perfect role for Keanu Reeves, as he didn't even have to pretend to emote in it. I'm trying not to watch TV too much, and currently it's nothing but things like Kung Fu Panda on the telly. If something like that
don't slag off Kung Fu Panda.
If something like that can get commissioned, then I have every chance. In fact, I had an idea for a cuddly children's animation of my own. It's about a Labrador in Africa that becomes poisoned from all the oil and plastic pollution in the Niger Delta and mutates into the ultimate rabid killing machine. The Nigerians must turn their guns off each other and work together to survive. So really, it's all about the power of teamwork over indifference, an important value for infants. Also, there is actually
a Christmas film where Africans murder a Labrador, mutated or not.
Let me continue. Also, there is actually more piracy in the Niger Delta than there is on the coast of Somalia, so it would be educational as well. Not to mention, don't pollute. At this moment, I'm unsure if I can secure the rights to the name Dogzilla, so I'll set to work on a backup. Lunch was a chicken leg with korma sauce, rice and peas, followed by a staple dessert of any jail, it would seem, plain sponge soaked in yellow water, which they insist on calling custard. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it, but I think that had more to do with the fact my ulcer is disappearing. Christmas Day. Woken up several times in the night, lots of banging and shouting, mainly people just messing about on the wing, but it sounds like it may have kicked off in another. Anyway, not my problem. Right, Christmas dinner is served. Cold turkey slice, cold ham slice, cold beef slice rolled up together. It looks like someone's windpipe. Topped off by a rectangle of Christmas pudding in the signature yellow water. I really don't know if there's any custard in there at all. In fact, it's not even a proper yellow. If anything, it looks like it's been siphoned from the toilets. That would bring a whole new meaning to the term Christmas #1.
I'm taking the piss.
Oh, yes. Now watching Mr. Bean posting himself some Christmas cards, infinitely more tragic than any of my recent predicaments. Funny enough, Home Alone 2 gets mentioned here. Hang on, I'm just skipping forward a bit here. Oh, okay, Boxing Day. Slept well, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the Simpsons Stonecutter episode was just on. Attached the Stone of Triumph.
Yeah.
Then watched another episode, the one about Maggie being born. Oh, do you remember that one, Lars, with the plaque in his office at the end?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that shed a tear.
Remember You're Here Forever turns into Remember Do It For Her.
Yeah. Wrote some more of the book, then retired for Cool Runnings. If that film doesn't warm your cockles, then there's probably something wrong with your cockles. Anyway, I only intended on reading a paragraph or two. I'll skip the rest of it.
Well, yes, thank you.
Oh, well, this is how I should probably end it. So this was the final bit of the Christmas Diary on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Ending the day again with a feeling of love rather than loneliness. I'm so grateful to have the family and friends that I have, and I will see them again soon enough. They all know the love that I have, however, perhaps not the extent of it. They might know how I feel about Busch Gardens or Opeth and The Office, but do they know how I actually feel about them? And that's Christmas. Never thought I'd be in this position during one, but here I am, and I almost feel better than I ever have. A few more weeks and I can get out and show it. And there you go. I did get out in early January, and the book followed. The book got started during that period. And when I look back on that Christmas, it's with fondness more than anything else, to be honest, because it was just kind of necessary at the time.
Sure.
I'm grateful of the experiences that led to that stint there, the experiences that happened during that stint there. And I feel just so much better as a result now. 2 years later.
Well, sometimes, these things can be a blessing in disguise. And I don't think you've looked back since. And I think that's the main thing.
Well, funny enough, I've looked back a lot since, but just kind
of. No,
but
in terms of you've not returned to the situation that brought you there, shall we say?
Oh, I see. No. And so, yeah, that was as memorable a Christmas as any other for me. But yeah.
And nobody got shanked.
And I wasn't trying to be all prophetic there, but I was obviously thinking about previous Christmases, and I thought, well, I've got to talk about that one. And so,
yes.
Yeah,
if it would stick in the memory, no doubt.
Yeah, and so there you go. That's another free snippet of the book there. Anyone that's read because my publisher made a whole bunch of it available for free on Google and through Amazon. But if you read that and then decided not to buy the book, well, there you go. You just got another free chunk there, admittedly much later on in it. Just go off and buy it now. Chris,
Hey, it's worth a podcast listen as far as I'm concerned.
Treat yourself for Christmas.
Yes.
Upside down.
Or if you're listening later on in the year, why would you listen to the Christmas episode any other time? But hey, then just buy it anyway.
Quite.
It's a good thing for any time.
So we've probably covered the staple Christmas topics. Lars, what else is on your mind?
Not a lot, to be quite honest. I mean, one of the things that I feel like mentioning is a short sort of interlude where I talk about there's almost always sort of throughout my life there've been festive editions of wrestling that have almost universally ended with Stone Cold Steve Austin portraying Santa and giving the naughty children a Stone Cold Stunner. But no, there was an episode which aired on my birthday, which was yesterday for those eagle-eared of you.
Not yesterday for those listening. Yesterday for us recording.
Yes. Yeah, well, it makes sense to me. Yeah, no, it wasn't Christmas Eve. And in fact, if you're interested in AEW, I do believe they are running an episode Christmas evening. So look out for that. But yeah, there's been a tradition the last couple of years of quite climactic wrestling events going down in and around Christmas. And so oddly enough, wrestling sort of ties into my Christmases now, which I can't say is a bad thing for me. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Don't you worry. Well, I tell you what,
Sorry,
Hughes.
I went and then added nothing.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think the shambling juggernaut that is the combination of our two psyches that we present here as two dicks talking bollocks, I think has come to a shuddering halt.
I think it probably has run its course. We don't want to make this too long for ourselves, or indeed, for me having to edit, and then anyone having to, poor them having to listen.
Poor them. You should be fucking grateful. This is the greatest gift you'll receive today, and you don't even have to unwrap it. Do you know what I mean? You don't even have to expend any energy. Just click and listen.
This should take up the entire fucking stocking on its own, this episode.
Yeah, exactly. Be grateful. Fucking bow down. I want an altar built in our honor and presents to be issued to it. And we will, we will just never know about it, but we'll appreciate the effort nonetheless.
So, yeah, I mean, like I say, Loz and I are probably a little bit rusty. We haven't done this in 4 months, and we did no prep for this. That might make it all the better. I don't know.
Yeah,
certainly,
that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, certainly feedback that we've had is that, like, when we did previous, not episodes, series, really, that because we were just getting so passionate about massive topics that meant a lot to us, we were probably quite earnest and serious in them. And so I think the general consensus feedback wise, that was when those little bits of just Scott and Loz being Scott and Loz of old, pissing about, bled through into that, they were probably the bits that were most enjoyed. So we're definitely looking to do more of that going forward. We will talk about other big hot potato topics going forward, but we'll try and do it in a way that's a little bit maybe less formal than before. And certainly,
I know for you that well, for the both of us, that we are such awesome individuals that we wanted to give you a window into our lives, to make the show a little bit more personal, so you can truly appreciate and worship us as the gods we truly are.
Yeah, exactly. Because two dicks can talk bollocks, but their souls won't necessarily come through during that, So we're now. Well, this is going to be episode 19, episode 2 of the and there's plenty more to come. 2 of which we already fucking recorded, but we'll have to do it again. But we'll, like last time, we will improve upon those. So we'll do those. Loz and I know what's coming next. You don't, unless you're listening to this down the line where you can already see what the next episode is. Just realized that. But why do we even need to be that secretive about it? I don't know, but I've started now, so we'll finish. We've got plenty of ideas in the barrel, and we are certainly looking to convene more frequently. I know that things have changed. I'm working full time in something else at the moment. However, it's important to me that I still have the time to do this sort of thing. So we will get this out in time for Christmas. You will be listening to this before Christmas. And if you're not, you'll be laughing at the fact now that you're listening to it being released after Christmas. So we'll just see what happens there. And Loz, I've bloody enjoyed this, mate. It's been a while.
It has, but I think that's added to it a little bit of spice to the mix.
A bit of spice.
The pepper did.
Yeah. You've been irritated, Captain.
Oh God! Right, I can literally hear the side of the barrel being scraped. So, with that said,
but that's where the flavour is, man.
Freak.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. Have a fucking great Christmas, whatever you do. I know that things aren't great in the world at the moment. Haven't been for some time. And yes, it would, without wanting to take a political stance here, it would appear that, other people are having fun at our expense at the moment, whilst we're consigned to having less fun. But I hope you can derive as much enjoyment as you possibly can from this Christmas. Spend time and company with the people that you love. And I hope you've enjoyed spending time with us. And we will very much look forward to seeing you very soon with the next episode. Hey, da 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 da. Was that the next episode?
I don't know.
Like,
What the fuck was that?
you should know. I'm talking about Dr. Dre. It's the next episode.
Jesus Christ! Oh yeah, no, I totally didn't get that from that. I'm afraid. So, da 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 da. It's Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. Bitches ain't shit.
Well, I can safely do that rendition without being attacked for any copywriting issues. You see.
I've got some presents for you. They're up in my bum.
Yeah, you might get Seth MacFarlane coming after you for that.
Yeah, well, it won't be the first time, won't be the last.
Well, Merry Christmas to everyone, including Seth MacFarlane and Dr. Dre. Please respect our right to just talk our own bollocks here. We mean no disrespect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We love you one and all, and God bless you if you've made it this far.
And likewise to all the other, powerhouse podcasters of the world, Joe Rogan and the like. We're sorry that there's been such a gap. I know Joe Rogan personally, Lars, has been contacting me on a regular, saying, "What's going on, man?" I look to you two for inspiration. So yeah, Joe, dude, I'm sorry, we're back. Okay, and
we've been slacking.
Yeah. So, well, what more to say than goodbye for about the fourth time? Just have a great Christmas. We probably won't see you again before the new year, but we'll be having fun doing whatever we're doing. You do the same. We will reconvene in 2022, and yeah, ta-da.
And that's the wrap up wrapped up. Merry Christmas, y'all.
Smoke weed every day. I'm not ending with that.
No.
Just for anyone who's still listening from work, to quote, we talked about Ricky Gervais and David Brent. I was not advocating the use of drugs. Merry Christmas.
Chip, chip, chow.